Welcome to Classlise. It's another day, another chance to learn something new with just your ears. You know, Lily, I always like starting our show. I imagine our listeners walking in the park or sitting on a bus right now.
That's true, Sante. There's something special about learning only by listening. You don't need a book or a screen. It's just voices, stories, and ideas. Today, I feel especially ready to talk. Maybe because this topic is close to my heart, and I know it's close to many others, too.
It's true. Today we have a topic that is important everywhere, in every country. But sometimes it hides in the shadows. Lily, can you say the word for our listeners?
Yes, Sante. Today we are talking about depression. It's a strong word, and sometimes a heavy one, too. But it's also a word we need to understand and talk about because it can touch any person, any family, any culture.
Sometimes when people hear depression, they feel afraid. Or maybe they think it only means feeling sad. Is that right, Lily? Or is there more to it?
There's much more to it, Sante. Depression is not just sadness. It's a deep feeling that stays for a long time. It's like a gray cloud that follows a person everywhere, even on sunny days. People with depression may feel tired, empty, or lose interest in things they loved before. It's not just one bad day, it's many days or even weeks and months when life feels harder than it should.
That sounds really tough. I think people sometimes say, just be happy or smile more, but it's not so simple, is it?
No, it's not simple at all. Imagine telling someone with a broken leg to just walk faster. You wouldn't do that, right? Depression is like that, but inside the mind. It's real. It's not weakness, and it's not something a person can just turn off. It needs care, time, and sometimes help from others.
I remember a friend who stopped coming out with us. We thought he was just busy or lazy, but later we learned he had depression. I wish I understood more back then. Lily, what are some signs that a person might have depression?
That's a great question. The signs can be different for everyone, but there are some common ones. A person may feel sad most of the time, even when nothing bad has happened. They might lose interest in hobbies, food, or friends. Some people sleep too much or too little. Others eat more or less than before. It's also common to feel hopeless, tired all the time, or think badly about yourself.
That makes me think, sometimes people hide these feelings. They act okay, but inside they're not. How can we help someone if we don't see the signs?
You're right, Sante. Depression can be like a mask. People try to hide it because they feel ashamed or afraid. That's why it's important to check on friends and family, even if they seem fine. Sometimes just listening or saying, "I'm here for you," can make a big difference.
I remember when I felt really down a few years ago. I didn't want to talk about it. I thought it would go away by itself. But it didn't. One day, a friend just sat next to me and said nothing for a while. That silence was louder than words. After that, I finally talked. I think sometimes we just need someone who is there, not someone who tries to fix everything. Do you agree, Lily?
I completely agree, Sante. Sometimes being there is enough. Depression makes people feel alone, like no one understands. Just sitting with someone or listening without giving advice can help. It's like holding an umbrella for them during their storm.
That's a good picture. An umbrella during a storm. Lily, is depression the same for everyone? Or does it change from person to person?
Depression is different for everyone. Some people cry a lot, others feel nothing at all. Some people can still work and smile outside, but inside they are hurting. The important thing to remember is this: you cannot see depression with your eyes. It's an invisible illness, but it's just as real as any other sickness.
That's powerful, Lily. I think a lot of people need to hear that. Now, what about children or teenagers? Can young people have depression too?
Yes, absolutely. Children and teenagers can have depression, but sometimes the signs look different. A young person might become quiet or angry, stop playing with friends, or do badly in school. They might say they feel sick or want to stay home all the time. It's important for parents, teachers, and friends to notice these changes and take them seriously.
I think sometimes people say, "Oh, he's just lazy," or "she's just shy," but maybe there's more happening. We need to listen better, right?
Exactly, Sante. Listening is the first step. And asking gentle questions like, "How are you feeling?" or "Is something wrong?" can help a young person talk about what's inside. Depression is not just a problem for adults. It can start at any age.
That really makes me think about my own school days. There were students who were quiet or angry, and we never asked why. I wish I had known to look deeper. Lily, you explained so well. It's clear that depression can touch anyone, anytime, and it's not always easy to see. Sometimes we only notice when things get really bad. Is that why depression can be dangerous?
Yes, that's one big reason. Depression can become very serious if it's not treated. Some people feel so lost that they think about hurting themselves or even ending their life. That's why talking about depression is so important. If you feel hopeless or if you know someone who feels this way, it's okay to ask for help. There are doctors, counselors, and support lines, and there is always hope, even when the mind says there isn't.
I feel a bit heavy inside hearing that. But it's important to talk honestly. I think everyone listening has felt sad or low before. But depression is more than that. It's a long storm, not just a rainy day. When I felt lost before, I thought I was the only one. But I wasn't, and nobody else is alone either. Lily, can you explain why depression happens? Is there a reason, or does it just come by itself?
That's a big question, Sante. Depression can have many reasons. Sometimes it comes after a sad event like losing a job, breaking up, or someone dying. Sometimes it's about stress, problems at home, or even changes in the body. But for some people, depression comes without any clear reason. It can be because of changes in the brain or family history. Even the weather, like many dark winter days, can make some people feel worse. It's never just one thing. That's why we must not blame anyone for having depression.
That's important. Never blame someone. I think sometimes people feel guilty, as if depression is their fault. But it's not. Lily, when you see depression in stories, movies, or songs, it often looks very dark. But is there any hope? Can people get better from depression?
Yes, there is hope. People can and do get better. Depression is treatable. Some people need medicine, others need talking therapy, or just time and support. Small steps help, like talking, walking, or even just opening the window for fresh air. It can be slow, and some days are better than others, but it's possible to feel the sun again after the long storm.
That makes me feel lighter, Lily. There's hope, even in the dark. Thank you for explaining everything so clearly. It's a lot to take in, but it's so important. I remember a time when I helped a friend. He was quiet for weeks, and then one day, he just started talking to me about how he felt tired all the time. He said it was like walking in deep water. At first, I didn't know what to say, but I just listened. Later, he told me that talking to me was the first step to feeling better. Sometimes, we don't need special words. We just need to be there.
That's right, Sante. You gave your friend something simple but powerful, your time and your ears. You were present. That's a gift.
Lily, people often say things like, snap out of it, or just think positive. Why do you think people say these things when they don't help?
Sometimes people say those things because they don't understand depression. Maybe they want to help but don't know how. Or maybe they feel uncomfortable and just want the bad feeling to go away. But depression is not something you can just snap out of. It's not about willpower. If it was, nobody would have it. When we hear things like that, it can make people feel worse. What helps is listening, kindness, and patience.
That's a good lesson for all of us. We don't need to fix everything. We just need to care. Can you talk more about how depression feels inside? For people who have never had it, what is it like?
Depression can feel like carrying a heavy backpack everywhere, even when you're tired. It can feel like walking in fog. You know where you want to go, but everything looks gray and far away. Sometimes you feel empty, like nothing matters anymore. Even simple things like brushing your teeth or making breakfast feel too hard. It can be hard to explain because sometimes there is no reason. You just feel lost or numb.
That sounds so lonely, Lily. I think it helps to hear these words so we understand a little more. Maybe we can be more patient and gentle with others and with ourselves. Is there something people can do every day to help their mind so they don't fall too deep into depression?
Yes, there are small things that can help. Taking care of your body, eating well, sleeping enough, and moving around can help your mind too. Talking to friends or family, even when you don't want to, is good. Sometimes writing about your feelings in a notebook can make things clearer. Doing something simple that you enjoy, like listening to music or taking a short walk, can make a difference. If you start to feel heavy, try to notice it early and ask for help sooner, not later.
I like those ideas. Sometimes we wait too long before asking for help because we think we have to be strong. But asking for help is strong too, right?
Absolutely, Sante. Asking for help takes courage. It's one of the bravest things a person can do.
I want to share a story from my family. My cousin felt down for many months. At first, nobody understood. We thought maybe she was just tired from work. But later, she said she felt empty inside, like nothing could make her happy. My aunt went with her to a doctor, and they started therapy. It took time, but slowly she smiled again. Now she says she's grateful for every small good day. I learned that we must listen to the people we love, even if we don't understand everything.
Thank you for sharing that, Sante. Your cousin's story shows how important it is to listen, to help, and to give time. Recovery is possible, but it's not fast. It's like growing a plant. Some days it rains, some days the sun comes out, but with care, things can get better.
That's true. I think sometimes we forget that life is not always sunny, and that's okay. Lily, is depression the same in every culture? Or does it change from place to place?
Depression is found in every culture, but the way people talk about it can change. In some places, people are open about their feelings. In others, it's harder to talk about mental health. Sometimes people only talk about body pain, like headaches or tiredness, because they don't have words for feelings. But the pain is real, even if the words are different. Every culture has people who care and people who need help.
That makes sense. Sometimes, language is not enough. But a hug, a smile, or just being there can help anyone, anywhere. I remember when I lived in another country, I felt very alone sometimes. Even just having tea with a neighbor made me feel better. Lily, are there any common myths about depression that you want to correct?
Yes, there are a few myths I want to talk about. The first is that depression means you are weak. That's not true. Depression is not about weakness. Another myth is that you can just think positive and it will go away. Also not true. Sometimes people think only adults can get depression, but children and teenagers can have it too. Finally, some people believe depression will never end. But with help, most people can get better, even if it takes time.
Those are important myths to correct. Sometimes just hearing the truth makes you feel less alone. Is there a simple way to support a friend with depression?
The most important thing is to listen. Be patient. Don't try to fix everything. You can say things like, "I'm here for you," or "You're not alone." Invite them to do simple things like going for a walk or drinking tea, but don't force them. Just knowing someone cares can make a big difference.
I will remember that, Lily. Sometimes I want to help too much, but maybe just being present is enough. If someone listening today feels like they might have depression, what is the first step they should take?
The first step is to tell someone you trust. It can be a friend, a family member, or a teacher. You can also visit a doctor or counselor. Remember, you are not alone and there is help. Even if it feels scary, talking is the beginning of getting better.
That's good advice. Talking is the key. I think we have all learned something important today. Depression is real. It can touch anyone, and there is hope, even when the sky looks grey. Lily, before we finish, do you have any last words for our listeners?
Yes, I do. If you are feeling low or lost, remember that your feelings matter. You are not invisible. There are people who care and who want to help. It's okay to ask for support. Every day is a new chance, and even small steps forward are brave.
Thank you, Lily. Thank you for your stories, your honesty, and your heart. I feel lucky to share this podcast with you and with everyone listening.
Thank you, Sante, and thank you to every listener who gave us your time, your ears, and your trust. Your story is important. You are important. Take care of yourself and of the people around you.
Keep walking with us, learning with us, and listening with us. There are more stories and lessons to share. Every word, every voice, every day.
And as always,
You've been listening to Classlise,
where your ears lead your fluency.
Thank you for listening today, for being present, for caring. Keep listening, keep learning. The journey continues, and we are with you every step.
Stay kind, stay strong, and keep hope close to your heart. Until next time, take care.